Yasham Sorendragarvamochanam Namami Nandanan Rajangana Sunayakam Sadashuka Pradayakam Jaganmana Pralobanam Namami Nandanandanam Shri Nandanan Nastakam Patet Yashadayan Vita Taret Vavabhim Dustaram Lavetarang Riyumakam Namami Nandanandanam Namami Nandanandanam Namami Nandanandanam Namami Nandan 285 Vandite Triloka Shokaharini Prasana Vaksha Pankaje Nikunja Bhuvilasini Brajendra Bhanu Nandini Brajendra Sunu Sangate Kadakari Sasiyamam Kripa Katakshabajanam Ashoka Vrikshavallari Vitanamandapastite Prabhalavala Palava Prabharunangrikomale Varabhayasporatare Prabhuta Sampadalaye Kadakari Sasiyamam Kripa Katakshabha Anangaranga Mangala Prasanga Bhangara Bhuvam Saviraman Sasamramam Dighantabanapatanai Nirantaram Vasikrita Pratiti Nandanandane Kadakari Sasiyamam Kripa Kataksabhajanam Tadit Suvarna Champaka Pradipta Gora Vigrahe Mukha Prabha Parasta Koti Saradhendu Mandale Vichicha Chicha Sanchara Chakora Savalochane Kadakari Sasiyamam Kripa Katakshabhajanam Madan Madati Yovane Pramoramana Mandite Priyanuragaranjite Kalavilasa Pandite Ananya Dhanya Kunjaraja Kamakeli Kovide Kadakari Sasiyamam Kripa Katakshabha Asheshava Bhavadira Irahara Ushite Pravuta Satta Kumbha Kumbha Kumbhi Kumbha Sustani Prasasta Mandahasya Chorna Purna Sokya Sagare Kadakari Sasiyamam Kripa kripa kataksha bhajan Nirnala valla vallari taranga ranga dorlate latagra lasya lola nila lochana valoka Lalan lulan milan manogya mugda mohanashite kadakari sasiyamam kripa kataksa bhajanam suvarna malikanchita chireka kumbhakantage Trisucha Mangali Guna Triratna Dipiditi Salola Nila Kuntala Prasuna Gucha Gumpite Kadakari Sasiyamam Kripa Malambamana pushpa mekalagune prasasta ratna kinkini kalapamadya manju karinja shunda dandika varo asavagoruke kadakari sasiyamam kripa kataksha bhajanam aneka manchanara manjunupararavascala samajaraja savam tanikvanati gauru vilolae mavalai vidambicharu chankare kadakari sasiyama ananta koti vishnu lokanamra padmajarchite imajita pulomaja virincha jabara prade apara siddhi riddhi digdha satpadangulinake kadakari sasiyamam kripa kataksha Makeshwari Kriyeshwari Swadeshwari Sareshwari Shri Veda Bharatishwari Pramana Shashaneshwari Rameshwari Kshameshwari Pramodakananeshwari Rajeshwari Vijaripe Shirarike Namostute Iti Mamadbhutam Stavam Nishamya Bhanunandini Karotu Santatam Janam Kripa Kataksha Bhajanam Bhaveta Daiva Sanchita Chirupa Karmanas Bhaveta Kadakari Sasiyama Kripa Kataksha Bhajanam Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Vrishabhanunandini Radhe Radhe Jaya Vrishabhanunandini Radhe Radhe Vrishabhanunandini Radhe Radhe Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Radhe 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 Jai 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 Shri Radhe 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 Jai 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 Shri Radhe 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 Jai 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 Shri Radhe 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 Jai 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 Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe. Damodar Asika. Can you do it? You want to sing it? No.
No?
I want you to do it. If you can. That was good.
Yes. Yeah, I totally switched out the tune. Yeah. What's the page again? 290. Namami Swaram Satchidanandarupam Lasatkundalam Gokule Brajamanam Yashoda Piyo Lukat Ladhavamanam Paramrastamatyanta Totrutakapya Rudantamohanatra Yukmamritantam Karambhojayugamena Satam Kanetram Muhuswasakampa Nirekakakanda Sitagrevadamo Daram Bhakti Badam Namami Swaram Satchidanandarupam Lasatkundalam Gokule Brajamanam Sualilamir Ananda Kunde Sakasham Nimajantam Akyapayantam Tadeyashitam Yasu Bhaktarithatvam Puna Prematastam Satavritivane Varam Devam Moksham Namoksha Swabhimbam Nachayam Rineham Varasarapeha Idam Teva Purnatha Gopalabalam Sadame Manasyavi Rastam Kimane Namami Swaram Satchidanandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Prajamanam Idam Te Mukukambobam Avyaktaniled Pretam Kuntale Snigdha Raktasagopya Musumitam Bimba Raktadarame Manasya Virastam Alam Lakshalabhe Namo Deva Damodarananta Vishnu Prasida Prabodhuka Jalam Dimagnam Kripadristi Vrishati Dinam Vatanu Praneshama Magnam Heti Akshidrisha Namami Swaram Satchidanandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam Kuvera Tadobada Murtyadvayatvat Tamachita Bhakti Pachakrita Cha Tata Prema Bhaktim Swakame Prayacha Namokshe Graho Mesti Damodareha Namami Swaram Satchidanandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Prajamanam Namami Swaram Satchidanandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Prajamanam Namaste Sudamne Spuradipti Damne Tatya Turayata Vishwasadhamne Namo Radhikaye Tadiya Priyaye Namo Nantalilaye Devayatu Namo Radhikaye Tadiya Priyaye Namo Radhikaye Tadiya Priyaye Namo Radhikaye Tadiya Priyaye Namo Nantalilaye Devayatu Namami Swaram Satchidanandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
So Sergio, right? So you know that before the class we always offer prayers to call for the presence of our superior spiritual masters. Okay.
Are you doing the Radha prayer too, or just
Well, we can do the Radha, but not the English.
Okay. Are you doing Damodarashtakam today?
We'll be doing, starting Damodarastakam, but we'll also be doing Madan Mohan and Sanatana Goswami, especially since he is the commentator of Damodarastakam.
Moving, if Damodarastakam close to Damodar, then close to, is that too close?
No. So they can be seen. Agyanam timirandasya Jnananjana salakaya Chaksurunmilitam yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Twadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namah Yang Pravrajanta Manupetam Apeta Krityam Dvaipayano Viraka Taruajuhava Putreti Tanmayataya Taravo Banedus Tang Sarvabhutaridayam Muni Manatosmi Bhaktya Vahinai Aparada Lakshay Chaptasya Kamadi Tarangamadye Kripamaitvam Sharanam Prapadyam Brinde Namaste Charanarvindam Tavoivasmi Najivami Tambina Kyaya Radhe Tam Nayamam Charanantike Kripaya, thanks. Page 18. Oh, you have it today. That's great. Angashamalim chatabirabito mandi kritendi varam jadyam jagurarochisam pigadatam patambarasya triya Vrindaranjanivasinam Ridilasattamabhiramodaram Radhaskandanive Shitojalabujan Dhyayamadamodaram Dhyayamadamodaram. I'm going to read the English. I meditate upon that Damodar. We're going to find out what is that Damodar in a minute, whose dark bodily luster is millions of times more beautiful than the blue lotus flower, whose brilliant yellow garments rebuke the radiance of golden kumkum, whose residence is Sri Vrindavan Dham, whose chest is beautified by a swinging Vaijayanti garland, which is a garland of 5 different colored flowers. Sometimes it goes down to the knees, sometimes almost to the feet, and whose splendorous left hand rests upon the right shoulder of Srimati Radhika. Like you see them on the altar there. She's to his left, so his left hand rests on the right shoulder of Srimati Radhika. And this morning we discussed from Srila Gurudev, what is the significance of that? It means that Krishna cannot stand up without the help of Srimati Radhika. She, philosophically, she is his power. He's the supreme powerful Godhead, and she's the supreme power. So he's fully dependent on his power to be powerful. And by pastimes, he always depends on her to be pleased with him. Otherwise, he goes mad and starts begging and crying and things like that. Okay. So, first of all, I offer my unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Diksha Gurudev, initiating spiritual master, Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta, Swami Prabhupada, and the same unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Shiksha Gurudevs, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astotra Sat Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta, Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and Srila Bhakti began Bharati Goswami Maharaj, to our grandfather gurus, Sri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj and Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, to all of his divine associates and all the assembled devotees, and all the assembled devotees, Diksha Gurus, who are my Shiksha Gurus, Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Madhav Maharaj, Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Ban Maharaj, and Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Siddhanti Maharaj. So today, as you know, is the first day of our Kartik Parikrama. We began this morning with Panda Vasanti taking us to Kaliya Daha, or Kaliya Hrida, which means a lake within a river, where Kaliya took refuge to free himself from the attack of his illusory, imaginated, how do you say it? Imaginative enemy, who's actually the best friend of all living entities, Krishna's bird carrier, Garuda. And we heard about the wonderful pastimes, about Kaliya's previous lives, Kaliya's previous dispute with Garuda. And the main thing is our ears and our existence got purified. We took the dust of that place. Then we visited Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, one of the great acharyas in our Gaudiya Vaishnava line. We visited his samadhi and his bhajan kutir and prayed for his mercy. So tonight we are going to Madan Mohan Temple. Do you want to show anything, or are you already? Okay. We don't need the lights off, though. We're going to the Madan Mohan Temple and to his follower, Sanatana Goswami's Bhajan Kutir and Samadhi Mandir. Just behind the Bhajan Kutir of Sanatana Goswami is a little stone erected thing, which is called Grantha Samadhi. That is, our teachers, our acharyas, they wrote. There was no printing press in those days. There was no typewriter. So they wrote everything down with pen on palm leaves. And the ink that they got, because you couldn't go to a store and buy the ink, so they made their own ink with squeezed flowers. So the ink must have been fragrant also. And for their pen, they either used a peacock feather, which automatically has a pointy edge. They used a peacock feather or anything else that would come to a point. So everything was homemade. So they wrote in that way, and gradually the granthas, or the scriptures that were made on the palm leaves, would get too old so that you couldn't read from them anymore. So at that time, they rewrote the scriptures and put the old ones that you couldn't read anymore in what you call samadhi, or they were kind of buried so that because they still have the potency, so that their presence could give us the mercy. Jai. So we circumambulate. Now let's offer our obeisances at the bhajan kutir of Sanatana Goswami and roll in the dust here, because he's one of our main teachers. He is one of the 6 Goswamis, direct disciples of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we were hearing from Gurudev this morning in Hindi that Gurudev said, don't think that only Rupa Goswami is a rasik or a guru who can give us the ecstatic mellows of the amorous love for Radha and Krishna. And that he wrote so many books, and Sanatana Goswami wrote less books, and he just made his books in pursuance of those of Rupa Goswami. Because the real thing is, Sanatana Goswami, his Brihad Bhagavatamrita, which is A to Z in spiritual life, and recommended, Srila Gurudev translated Brihad Bhagavatamrita into Hindi, and then his followers translated it into English. And it's a very important book for being able to enter the pastimes of Shri Radha and Krishna. Gradually going through the rasas to understand which are the best. So, are we here? So we're rolling in the dust here. We're putting the dust on our forehead, on our eyelids, on our tongue, and on our hearts. And then we're hearing from our teachers, our spiritual masters, about his glories. That is, Sanatana Goswami is in his gopi form, he's Lavanga Manjari, and he does the same services as all the pran sakis. There are 5 kinds of sakis, or gopis. One is plain saki, who they live at Mother Yasoda's house, and they have an inclination towards Krishna, like Dhanista, Kundalata, and others. And then there's the 2 kinds of sakis like Lalita and Vishaka, whose favorite thing is to make the arrangements for the loving pastimes of Radha and Krishna, but also have a direct relationship with Krishna. And they are called, of 2 kinds, Priya Sakis and Priyanam Sakis, or Param Presta Sakis. And they are like on an equal rank with Srimati Radhika. Of course, she's their source, and they want to serve her. But they'll do personal services to Radhika out of her own accord. Not that she'll say, tie my skirt or put on my altar, my red lac on my feet. Whereas the other two types, so that's 3, and then 4 and 5 is the Nityasakis, and of the Nityasakis, those who are most exalted and intimate with Srimati Radhika are called Pransakis. They're the leaders of the Nityasakis, and they're both Manjaris. So Sanatan Goswami is, in his Gopi form, he's Labanga Manjari, one of the leading maidservants of Srimati Radhika. And he does all day what you read about in the prayers of Rupa Goswami and the other Goswamis for different types of services to do during the day, like awakening, bringing home, then awakening again at home, bathing, massaging, that is putting on oil first, fragrant oil, and then massaging with that oil, like you see they do with the deities here. And then after the bath, they dress Radharani and ornament her. And she can give them any order without hesitation. So she can give them any order, but she can't give an order to Lalita and Vishaka. She can give them another order, like tell Krishna to go away, but not her personal service. And Gurudev said, just like these brahmacharis here in the mutt in Mathura, he said, I can tell them anyway, anything. Go get some water, give me a glass of water. But I can't tell that to you. You means he was sitting with my godbrothers, different Maharajas, different sannyasis. Said, can I tell you? No, and I cannot. Because I have some respect for you. But for them, I can easily tell. So who is at an advantage? So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Puri, Sanatana Goswami was serving him there. And after that, he went to Vrindavan to be with Rupa Goswami. And Raghunath Das Goswami, he was also there. But when Mahaprabhu left, he was feeling too much separation. So he went to Vrindavan, like suicidal separation. The perverted reflection of which is, my boyfriend left me for somebody else and I kill myself. Or these days it's, I didn't win the prize, so I kill myself. Remember we heard that from Vishnu? His friend at his college, he won 3rd prize in scholarship, and he felt so bad about it that it wasn't first prize that he killed himself. People are really insane in this day and age. So he went to Vrindavan because he couldn't tolerate living in this world without his Lord, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But when he arrived in Vrindavan, he met Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami, and they consoled him, and Sanatana Goswami built him a hut so that he could do his bhajan there. Because one day Sanatana Goswami saw that Raghunath Das Goswami was taking water from Radhakund, and 2 tigers came, and they started drinking water there and went away. But anything could have happened. So he said, don't do bhajan at night outside. Go into this hut. So he offers obeisances to Srila Sanatana Goswami in his Valabhkus Manjali. That is, I offer obeisances to Sri Sanatana Goswami, who forced me to take the renounced order of life, even though I was unwilling to do so. Bhakti enriched with renunciation. And when Sanatan informed Raghunath Das that I know of your desire to leave your body, but that doesn't give one bhajan. I also wanted to, because I, Sanatana Goswami, had all these wet itches all over me. And every time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would see me, he would embrace me, and I couldn't tolerate that. So I decided that I'm going to end this life by jumping under the wheel of Lord Jagannath's cart at the time of Rath Yatra. So of course Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew of that. And so he said, you gave that body to me, and now you're taking it back? You have no right to that body. So same thing with you. Only if you do bhajan, because Mahaprabhu also told Sanatana Goswami that if I thought that by giving up my body, I could attain bhajan of Radha and Krishna and attain their direct service, I would have died millions of times. But the only way to get that service is by doing bhajan, by chanting, remembering, hearing, speaking with heart. Then with grievous begging. So Sanatana Goswami would beg every day. He would walk so many miles from Vrindavan to Mathura and back, and he would do madhukari. Madhukari means, madhu is a bee, bumblebee, and a bee doesn't just stand there in one flower all day, because anyway there's not that much honey in each individual flower, but it goes from flower to flower, taking a little bit of honey here and there. Similarly, our renunciate in Vrindavan, the great self-realized souls, they would go from home to home, just begging a little quarter of a chapati or anything small, and in that way they would sustain themselves during the day. And also because they were advanced souls, anyone who would serve them with a little bit of chapati or whatever, they would make spiritual advancement by serving the great souls. The great souls don't need the service. In fact, they would go house to house around the villages and talk about anything with the household families. Like, how's your daughter? Was her marriage done yet? And does this one have children yet? Why? Just to befriend them so that they would know that he cared about them. And then he would swing the conversation always to Krishna and Krishna consciousness. It was he who found Jiva Goswami in a crocodile hole. That is, Rupa Goswami was angry at Jiva Goswami. That's a whole story in itself. So he told Jiva Goswami to leave his company, leave his ashram, and just go. So Jiva Goswami, his one and only disciple in the world, he was weeping and feeling separation. And so he was, his eating became like nothing. He was practically fasting, and he would reside in an old crocodile hole, ditch. So one day, when Sanatana Goswami was roaming around the villages, meeting with the householders, they told him that, there's someone who's even more renounced than you. He's young, and he's crying all day and night, chanting Hare Krishna, weeping for Rupa Goswami. And so Sanatana Goswami was curious, is that Jiva Goswami? And it was. So he picked him up. He was already now diseased, weak, frail. And so he brought him back to Rupa Goswami. And without showing Jiva to him, he just asked him, what is the duty of a self-realized soul and teacher? He said, is to show compassion to the jivas. Jiva means the living entity. So Sanatana Goswami brought in Jiva, the disciple, and said, well, what about this Jiva? Why don't you show compassion to him? So then both the guru and the disciple began weeping, and he embraced Jiva and nurtured him back to health. So now coming to today's pastime. So he would go to Mathura, back to Vrindavan, and one of the houses he went to was a Chobe woman. And she had a son, and the son had a friend named Madan. Somehow or other, Advaitacharya used to have the Madan Mohan deity, and then somehow or other he got to Mathura, to this Chobe woman's house. So that deity, because her son and she, the mother, loved Krishna so much, he decided to reside in that house, the deity. How big is Madan Mohan? About that big? So Sanatana Goswami went there to beg. That's pretty big. And so he went there to beg, and he noticed the two children playing. And then he saw that they were hungry and wanted their breakfast. So in order not to make them cry, the Chobe woman didn't even take a bath because she didn't want them to cry and be hungry. She didn't brush her teeth. Rather, she was brushing her teeth. In India they use twigs, especially the neem twig. We're waiting for our neem tree to grow. So they especially use the neem twig because the neem twig is also, when you bite on it and then brush, the liquid from the tree also goes into the stomach, and it's very healthy. So she was chewing with one end of the stick, and with the other end of the stick, she was, what do you call that? Stirring the cereal, the breakfast, so that she could hurry up. And then she fed them. They were very happy. So Sanatana Goswami, who is a Brahmin, and she's also supposed to be a Chobe Brahmin lady, but he didn't do this yet. What happened was the boys were playing, and whoever lost the game had to carry the other one, had to carry the winner on his shoulder. So the Chobe's son, he lost, so he had to carry Madan on his shoulders. And then they played again, and Madan lost. So he was supposed to carry, now it's my turn, he was supposed to carry the Chobe's son on his shoulders. But instead he just ran away. And he ran away into the temple room of the house, like we have here. So he ran in, and there was a pujari there, and he ran into the deity because he was the deity. And he merged back into his deity form. And the Chobei son ran into the temple, and he was approaching the deity, and the Pujari said, "Go away, go out." So then the Chobei son said, "Okay, but I'm going to get you, just wait and see." And so then, at that time, Sanatana Goswami realized that he's a deity. He's the deity of Madan Mohan. So he said, because he wanted the deity to be served nicely, so he said to the Chobei mother that, it's not proper etiquette to not brush your teeth or not bathe and wear clean clothes when you're cooking. Because she had the deity, the food was also meant to be offered to the deity. But she was only thinking of the kids. So this is not proper etiquette. You should bathe first and brush your teeth first, and then with a clean utensil, stir your cereal. She said, "Oh yes, you do that when you're sorry that you made a mistake." Yes, I won't do that again. So the next day, as he was coming back, he was so enchanted, he wanted to come back every day, ostensibly for begging alms. So the next day, the kids were hungry, they were weeping. She said, "Wait, I'm just going to take my bath. I'll be right back." So she went all the way to the Jamuna River, took her bath, came back, and she had to first brush her teeth. Meanwhile, the kids are wailing, crying, pulling on her. "Sorry, we're hungry, we're hungry." And then Sanatana Goswami saw that the kids were unhappy, and he knew one of them was Madan, the deity. So he said, "Listen, forget what I said. They want your cereal with your unclean habits, so just forget everything I said." So then he was leaving, and then that same deity came out of the temple, out of the house, and tugged on him, on his dhoti. And he said, "I want to go with you." "What do you mean? I don't have anything for you. I don't live in a house. I live under a different tree every night. And I don't have anything to eat. I beg here and there. I hardly collect anything. I wouldn't be able to feed you. Here you're eating so well. You have friends. You have a mother who takes care of you." He said, "No, I'm not happy here." "Why, what's the matter?" "This boy is too quarrelsome. I want to go with you." "All right, but you're so big. You'll have to walk." "I'm just a little boy." What do you mean you're a little boy? You have 900,000 cows in your father's cowshed. You take care of all of them. You lifted a mountain with your left pinky when you were 7 years old. So you can walk. So he walked, and he followed Sanatana Goswami. So Sanatana Goswami made a what do you call that? A little bag for him to stay in. And he would give him some, because he would go out and beg, so he would collect some dry chapati with no ghee on it, no nothing. And he himself would eat that. So that's what he offered to Madan Mohan. And Madan Mohan was taking it for a while, but then he said, "Look, I can't take this anymore. Can't you give me some ghee, some butter? It's too hard, I'm choking." Some salt. He said, "Well, if I give you ghee and salt, I don't have it. I'll have to go separately beg for the salt. And if I give you that, then you're not going to be satisfied. Then you're going to want bread and butter, you're going to want sweets, and all those things. So you'll have to be satisfied with that." And because it was offered with love and affection, Madan Mohan was satisfied. But then Madan Mohan also said to him, what if I make my own arrangements for salt? Okay, you can make your own arrangements. So soon after that, a barge, a merchant barge, was sailing down the Jamuna right near where Sanatana Goswami's hut was. And then it got stuck. So the merchant came up to his place and he was enchanted with the deity. And he said, if you can get my boat free, then I will, he said to the deity, right? If you can get my boat free, I'll build you a temple. So in 1 second, the boat was free. The merchant went and sold all his merchandise, got a lot of money, and built a big temple for Madan Mohan, which you see here. Except that after some time, the Mughal Akbar came, and he was very tyrannical, and they cut off the first few, the top floors of the temple. Now there's a new Madan Mohan temple, but the old one, what? This is the old temple. You can see the spires there and how the tops were cut off. Yeah.
And they did mention this morning that after Krishna jumped in the lake and he subdued Kaliya.
Do you want to take a mic? By the way, I just want you to know that I was on live stream yesterday or the day before, and Manjari, must have been yesterday, Manjari and Vasanti were sitting right next to each other, and Vasanti had the mic and she was the main speaker. But then when Manjari spoke, I could very barely hear her. So therefore it's very important to speak in mics.
You accidentally said Akbar. It was Aurangzeb that came in.
Aurangzeb?
Aurangzeb, yeah.
Aurangzeb.
The tyrannical king.
Then there was an Akbar.
Akbar's good.
He was a good guy.
Yeah.
So the Akbar wanted to do some service
I was
for.
going to tell about when Kaliya, after he got out of the lake.
Go ahead.
After Krishna got out of the lake, after subduing Kaliya, he was cold. So he went to the top. There's a place on top up there, Madan Mohan, little area that marked. He went to go sit in the sun to warm up. There's a little memorial there that shows that.
Good. So then, once there was an Akbar, and he wanted to do some service for Srila Sanatana Goswami. Sorry? Oh, so I said he built a temple. So, what?
What was he carrying on that barge?
Salt. So Madan Mohan got so much salt. Yeah, thanks for that. Then the Akbar came and he wanted to do some service for Srila Sanatana Goswami. So Sanatana Goswami, he didn't need any service, and he didn't really live anywhere that he needed service for. He said, all right, if you can, you see the steps leading into the river? Well, there's a little crack there. Can you fix the crack? Seal the crack? What? Seal a little tiny crack in a staircase? Don't you realize I'm a big Akbar? I can give you anything. No, just fix the crack in the stairs. So then when he went to fix the crack in the stairs, by Krishna's mercy, he could see that the stairs were made of Chintamani stones, much more valuable, because everything in Vrindavan is made of chintamani, desire stones, which are millions of times more valuable than diamonds, rubies, Kohinoor, which is the most expensive diamond. And then he went back to him. He said, "I'm sorry, I can't afford to fix the crack." So once we were at the Madan Mohan temple with Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Goswami Maharaj, and we were sitting at the steps. First we went to the Samadhi Mandir the Bhajan Kutir of Sanatana Goswami, because if you're going to any deity, the proper etiquette is that you first go to the devotee and then you go to the deity, so that you get the mercy of the dear one of the deity. So first we went to see Sanatana Goswami's Bhajan Kutir, and then we came to Madan Mohan and we were sitting on the steps. It wasn't exactly steps, it was like there's something that's high. You know, when you walk into a temple in Vrindavan and you're going through the entranceway and there's a thing that's about this high that you pass through and people put their shoes there. So we were all sitting, Vasanti and I and a few other devotees, were sitting on that with Srila Bharati Maharaj. And I asked about, is it really necessary, absolutely necessary, to visit all the pure devotees in Vrindavan, like Sanatana Goswami, who came 500 years ago, or Prabodhananda Saraswati. When did he come? That's right. So around 500 years ago. And so he said, if you're in America, you don't have to go and visit him. You can just offer obeisances and prayers in your mind. But like if there's a pure devotee living in your town and you don't go to see him, that's an offense. So same thing with the pure devotees of Vrindavan. Even though they appeared hundreds of years ago. Did you clean that yet? Yeah, it's still black. Samuki will teach you how to do it so that it becomes white. Okay. Yes, back to the class. Where am I up to?
If there's a pure devotee in your town.
If there's a pure devotee in your town and you don't visit him, that's an offense.
Similarly, you're saying similarly.
It's an offense to not go and visit him.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
No, I think you're saying similarly if you go to the deity without seeing the pure devotee first.
Yeah, that also. Are there any questions or comments? Yeah, I remember Vasanti and I visited there when we were in India last, which was, I believe, 2021, when we had just published the art book. And I asked the Pujari, he said, Remember that? I asked the Pujari, so we've heard that because of the attack of the tyrannical Aurangzeb, Mughal Aurangzeb, some of the deities in Vrindavan were moved to Jaipur to be under the care of the king of Jaipur, and then new temples were constructed for them. And that Pratibhu deities, Pratibhu means representative deities, looking the same, but they built new deities for the original temples in Vrindavan. The original deities went to Jaipur, and the Pratibhu representative deities stayed in the temple. or were built for the temples in Vrindavan. Am I making sense? Am I making sense? So I said that to the Pujari just to get his confirmation. He said, no. Then he quoted that verse, Vrindavanam Nagachati. Vrindavanam Parityaja. Because Krishna doesn't leave one step out of Vrindavan. So this is the original Krishna. And his expansions can go elsewhere. And that is Radha Madan Mohan. And can you explain who those deities are? Lalita, Vishaka, and Radha and Madan Mohan. And Srila Prabhupada said, if you take shelter and become attracted to Madan Mohan, who enchants millions of Cupid, then you'll be free from the attraction to Madan or Cupid of this material world, who shoots everybody indiscriminately and thus binds us to the cycle of birth and death. Are there any questions or comments? All right, so no, it's the. Hmm?
I have a question at the end.
No, this is good
Right now?
because this is the end of the first half of the class.
All through the Vedic text and everything, it says, all through the Vedic texts and everything, you see a lot of descriptions and examples of begging. But in the material world, begging doesn't really have like a good connotation. And so I'm kind of trying to figure out how to, what's the word? Transfer reconcile the mood that they have in the spiritual world to here as far as the begging side.
It's not only the spiritual world, it's Indian culture. That a saintly person will go and beg door to door, not for his own needs, because he could sit down in one place and eat a whole meal, but he does it for the benefit of the householder, that they get sukriti for serving him. And then he also tells them Harikatha. And here, a beggar is just somebody who has bad karma and or either he didn't endeavor, or he endeavored, but by the will of the karma, he just lost everything.
Yeah, because when I would hear the word begging, or I would always just get this image of like,
Sure.
not that.
And even these days, in India, in Vrindavan, the beggars may not be saintly persons, but they sit in a long row with their little bowls and a few coins. So it may or may not be the same in all situations. But the Vedic standard is that they would go to give, even, who was it who came to Nanda Maharaj's house? Who came to Nanda Maharaj's house? Gargacharya. And Nanda Baba said, I know that you've come only for us wretched householders to give us mercy and Harikatha.
Jai.
Any other?
So I'm wondering if there's any connection between the name of the deity and the pastime of like its appearance, or like the pastime of Srimati Mohan. Like, is there any connection between his name and then his...
Why he has that name?
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, I don't know that answer, but I'll see if I can do some research and then get back to you. If you can remind me tomorrow. there are three main deities in Vrindavan. Oh, I know something. Yeah, but I mean there are three main ones. Madan Mohan, Govinda, and Gopinath. And one of the deities is the Sambandha, the deity for Sambandha. That's Madan Mohan, establishing our relationship. What is our relationship with Krishna? And then the Abhideya, the deity who is the predominating deity of Abhideya, or what are the activities in my relationship with Krishna? That's Govinda. And then Gopinath is the Prayojana deity, or the predominating deity of the goal of the activities of the relationship, which is love of God. So then there's Sambandha Acharya, and that is Sanatana Goswami. In fact, Gurudev explained that without the rules and regulations of his books, like Hari Bhakti Vilas, it tells all about the different ashrams and varnas, and what to do and what not to do, how to observe Kartik, how to take sannyas, how to give samadhi. Everything is there in that book. Without that book, and Gurudev said, if you want to come to spontaneous devotion, you'll fall flat on your face. So his books are essential. So anyway, so Sanatana Goswami is the Sambandha Acharya. And his deity is Madan Mohan. What pastime there was, how he got the name, I can't say.
Does it relate to the Pranam? All glories to the supremely merciful Shiva.
Excuse me?
All glories to the supremely merciful Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan. Although I am lame and foolish, they are my sole refuge. Their lotus feet are everything to me.
Yeah.
So, I was just thinking.
Well, there's three prayers. One is to Madan Mohan. And what is that in Sanskrit?
Jayatam Suto Pangor.
Jayatam Surito Panghor. Mama Manda Matervati. It's important to know these. Matsaravasya Padambojo Shri Radha Madana Mohana. Although I am lame, ill-advised, Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan are my only refuge.
So that's the
That's the Sambandha. And then the next prayer that we say is Divdad Rindaranya Kalpa Drumada. Might as well make it melodic. Divdad Rindaranya Kalpa Drumada Shriman Ratnagara Singhasanasto Shishi Radha Shila Govinda Devo Prestali Bi Sevyamano Smarami. You want to read the translation?
In the shining land of Sri Vrindavan, in a temple composed of jewels, Shri Shri Radha Govinda are seated on an effulgent throne beneath a kalpavriksha tree. Accepting service from their beloved Sakis, I meditate upon them.
And then Gopinath. Shriman Rasarasarambi Bamsi Bhatta Tatastita Karshana Venu Sanayar Gopir Gopinatha Shriyostanaha.
Standing on the riverbank at Vamsivat, Shri Gopinath, the initiator of the transcendental mellow of the rasa dance, attracts all the gopis with the sound of his Venu flute. May he confer auspiciousness upon us.
The last line is very important. May he bestow auspiciousness upon us. All right, so any other? What time? Yeah, I was going to say, what time should I stop? Then what's happening? Arti. And then Prashadam. Okay. Where are we going tomorrow? We're going to Govinda, Govindaji temple, the Abhideya presiding deity. Where else are we going? Oh, there's a very nice history of how Govinda was discovered by Rupa Goswami. And then Gopishwar, Deer Samir, Bangsibat, all the places of Rasa Leela. Very intense day. Good. So in the beginning of this Damodarastakam, Srila Gurudev added Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj's preface to the original Bengali edition. So I think it was, who was that? I forget his name. Starts with a B. Viswambar. Viswambar? From up there? Hmm? Well, he asked me when we were discussing, he said, if this is the month of worshipping Radha and Krishna with a prominence of Radharani, then why are we worshipping Damodar and singing Damodar Astakam? So Srila Gurudev actually explained that in his introduction to the Damodar Astakam book. Astakam means 8 verses, and Damodar means Krishna whose belly was bound by the rope of his mother's affection. So it said that this month is called Damodar because Damodar, Krishna, wanted to show that he's controlled by his devotees' love, and he can't be controlled by any other way. And he wanted to show how his mother controlled him and how subservient he is to his mother, to her Vatsalya Bhav. So in the book, not in the book, in the song, Namami Swaram Sajit Anandarupam. So there, the relationships with Krishna goes from Dasya to Vatsalya and ends with Madhurya Ras. So it shows the progression of how Krishna is controlled, mostly by Madhurya Ras, and within that means Kanchika love, and within that fully by Srimati Radhika. So that's included there in the song, in the kirtan, and in the book. So Damodar is pleased, Gurudev said. He's pleased when one sings the Damodar Astakam and remembers this pastime. And he's also pleased when one worships Srimati Radhika. And the deeper, more full Damodar is Radha Damodar, when he's bound by the anshul, or the veil of Srimati Radhika. But he's pleased by both. So they're both there. It's Kartik month, which is the month of Kartik Devi, Srimati Radhika, who is also Urjeshwari, which means she is the embodiment of Krishna's power. And this month is also called Uja Vrat. Uja Vrat means the very powerful vrat of following the do's and don'ts, not only for Kartik, but for the whole 4 months, whole Chaturmasya. So they're both there, Radha Damodar, and Damodar is pleased with both. But so the month is called Damodar. It's also called Ujjabrat, Kartik Brat, Niyam Seva Brat. So both are happening in this month. In fact, there's an injunction to worship Radha Damodar and recite this prayer. Radhikam pratimam vipra pujayet kartike tuya tasya tusyati tat prityai Shriman Damodaro Harihi. And this is from Srila Sanatana Goswami's, because he gives all the injunctions in his book. Like one injunction is to observe Kartik and go to the holy places and bathe in the holy rivers. So this is from Sanatana Goswami's Hari Bhakti Vilas. O learned Brahmanas, one who worships the deity of Sri Radhika for her pleasure during the month of Kartik equally satisfies Sri Damodar Hari. So they're both going on. Damodar Hari. Hari means Krishna, who takes away everything inauspicious which we may consider our auspicious possession. And this prayer was uttered by Satya Vrata Muni, and it's quoted by Srila Vyasadeva in the scriptures. As stated above, Damodar becomes pleased with those who worship Radhika for her pleasure during the month of Kartik. And also, this other verse from the same Hari Bhakti Vilas, one who worships Sri Damodar during Kartik month by daily reciting the prayer Sri Damodarastakam, which is uttered by Sri Satyavrat Muni, as it arose in his heart, will perpetually attract Damodar himself. And then he says, I have already mentioned that Sri Damodarastakam is to be sung and discussed daily while observing Ujjavrat, also known as Kartik Vrat or Damodar Vrat. Those who wish to please Sri Damodar in this month should certainly read this book. And it's usually, or always, we never ever get through the whole book. It's a very big book, and there are only so many days. So it's recommended that you read it also on your own, because also the book is very dense, and you want to get deep into it and see how Madhurya Ras is coming through it, especially if someone like Gurudev is writing his own commentary as well. Those who wish to please Sri Damodar in this month should certainly read this book. Within Chaturmasya, the 4 months, and vratas observed by Vaishnavas. Oh, that's just a technical thing. If the Ekadasi is not pure Ekadasi, but it's mixed, some of it goes in the next day, or some of the next day goes into it, then we don't observe it. And this Damodarastakam is eternal. Therefore, we should study it, sing it out loud, and discuss it. Well, get this, not just during the month of Kartik, but every day throughout Chaturmasya. We can always individually take some time to read something of this book. It's an injunction. It's so important that it is worth reading every month, and indeed every day of the year. This is a big, promotion on the book. If this Damodarastakam is glorified in a sublimely pure way, then Damodar will be pleased. It is with this intention that with this great effort, we have compiled this book. Who compiled it? Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. Okay, so we can start with, this is a picture of Sanatana Goswami. Should I show it again? Picture of Sri Sanatana Goswami. And here, because Krishna jumped up on the grinding mortar after stealing the yogurt, and so these are some actual remnants from 5,000 years ago of that grinding mortar. So now this is a picture of Radha Damodar in Vrindavan, right here. You know, when the GVP was about to publish the book, Damodarastakam is not an English word. It's not an attractive word for non-devotees who you want to buy the book. So the editors asked Gurudev, what is a good translation for the word Damodarastakam? And Gurudev said, Krishna controlled by love and affection. So that is actually the meaning. So we'll read the first verse today. Vasanti, when are we supposed to finish? Now. All right, we'll read the first verse tomorrow. And what happens now? Srila Sanatana Goswami ki jai. Shri Madan Mohan ki jai.
3 more minutes, Mr. Pujari is getting ready.
Okay. Shri Damodarastakam ki jai. We started singing this Damodarastakam in way back in the ISKCON times, in the 70s. We'll do it. Whose tune is this? Namami Swaram. Is that the ISKCON tune? We'll do it in that tune today. Namami Swaram Sachidanandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam Jashoda Biyolu Kaladhavamanam Param Ristama Jantato Jyutya Gopya. I offer obeisances unto Sri Krishna, the possessor of all potencies. And we don't want to just know a general translation. Well, it's something about, and then you give a general translation, but we want to know what each word means. And we do have that opportunity because on page 1 of the book, we have what each word means. That way, as we're singing the Sanskrit, it'll be like that. And you go into each word. And the whole, because you don't want to just think of isolated words. I offer obeisances to Sri Krishna, the possessor of all potencies. Ishvaram, possessor of all potencies, whose beautiful form is the entirety of concentrated existence. Now these are deep, deep words. Whose beautiful form is the entirety, the complete whole of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. What is that? Satchidananda Rupam. On his cheeks, makara-shaped earrings are swinging playfully. Makara is very significant, particularly when Krishna gets into his Kaishur age as a teenager, because the makara is like a, what's the word? No, it's a sea, it's like a seahorse, but there's a word that starts with an M. Mythical, like a mythical sea creature. So,
Is that them?
that's them. It's hard for me to see, probably. If I could see it close, I could know. Not exactly. So makara, it's not quite a fish. It's a mythical sea creature. It's supposed to have something to do with conjugal love, lusty affairs. So Krishna is showing that he wants conjugal connection with the gopis. Makara-shaped earrings are swinging playfully. His infinite brilliance. Can you imagine infinite brilliance? But you don't get blinded. It's soothing. Shines forth from his most splendid residence, the transcendental abode, Sri Gokul. He was afraid. Fear itself is afraid of Krishna. But Krishna is afraid of the stick in his mother's hand. Because he smashed the earthen pot of yogurt. When he saw her coming, he leaped down from the grinding mortar, as you see here. And the first time I did this painting it was a copy of, there are different companies of posters in India. So this was the Banerjee company of artists. And Mother Yasnoda was sneaking up, and Krishna was standing on the grinding mortar, looking down very fearfully. So I did a copy of that painting, which wasn't anything near as good as the original. But in 1969, when Prabhupada came to Boston to visit us there, when we were just actually starting the BBT press, so I handed the picture to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada looked like he said first class, even though it was very bad. And he said, Krishna is teaching here. Don't stock. distribute everything as Krishna Prasadam. Distribute the prasadam, distribute the books, distribute the art, distribute anything that's going to help people, the holy name. So he smashed the earthen pot of yogurt. When he saw her coming, he leaped down from the grinding mortar. Are you ready? Are you the pujari? No, it has to be on time for the deities. All right, I'm stopping at this sentence. He leaped down from the grinding mortar and ran away. Nonetheless, Mother Yasoda ultimately caught hold of him from behind because she had more, because of her love, she was able to catch he who runs infinitely fast. For she ran more swiftly than he did. So we're ending here. Sri Damodarastakam ki jai. Shri Radha Damodar ki jai. Yasoda Damodar ki jai. Brajmanu Prikrama ki jai. Kartik Brat ki jai. Niyam Seva ki jai. Gaur Premanandi.